Okay, on screen I have every single ranked fighter currently in the UFC and every single men's weight class, all the way from flyweight to heavyweight. Everyone that's in the top 15 is on this tier list, and I'm going to rank them based on these categories that you see on screen. This is a lot of people. This is going to take a long time. It's pretty self-explanatory. I'll kind of explain it as I go for each tier if you don't understand what it means, even though it's pretty obvious. But I'm just going to pull out a fighter at random. I'm not going to go in order. I'm just going to pull one out at random. I'm not going to look. And we're going to start with Tai Tuivasa. Now, Tai Tuivasa kind of went on a little run for a little bit, and people thought, he might be champ. I don't think anyone really thought that, but when he rocked Cyril Gane, that was when he was at his peak, bro. That was peak Tai Tuivasa. When he dropped Cyril Gane, I was like, oh my god, no way this guy with this gut bouncing around is about to KO Cyril Gane. But ever since then, it's been downhill. Tai Tuivasa, man, he's just average at this point. I wish I made a tier. It's too late. I'm not going to do it now. I wish I made a tier just like for fun fighters. Like I would put Derek Lewis here, Tai Tuivasa, just fighters that put on fun, entertaining fights. But I don't have that. So he's going to go in the nothing special, just average tier, which I think perfectly describes Tai Tuivasa. Next, we're pulling out this guy, Marlon Vera. Overrated. I think Marlon Vera is garbage. I think he's one of the most overrated fighters in the UFC. He's losing to these old men and then flukes a KO out of nowhere. Never had an impressive performance ever, really, except maybe the Rob Font fight. But, he's had highlight reel KOs over, Dominic Cruz and Frankie Edgar. But, those aren't impressive wins because he's losing until he gets the KO. So his most impressive win is Rob Font, probably. Yeah, I think Marlon Vera is one of the most overrated fighters in the UFC today. So I'm going to put him in the overrated category. Next fighter is Mario Bautista. Okay. He's young with potential. I think that describes Mario Bautista perfectly. I don't think he'll ever be a champ, but he is young, and he's got potential. He's got a lot of time to improve in the game. So I'm going to throw him in the young with potential category. Next up, Arman Tsarukyan. He's champ potential. He's very good. Very good. A lot of people don't like him because he beat Charles Oliveira, which makes sense. He's a fan favorite. So if you beat Charles Oliveira, people aren't going to like you. But he is very talented, very good wrestler, constantly improving his striking. And he's also pretty young. I believe he's in his late 20s. I think he's 28 at this point. I could be completely wrong, but I'm pretty sure he's in his late 20s. So he's still got a lot of time to improve as well. So I think that is a no-brainer to put him in champ potential. Next fighter is this guy, Alexander Romanov. Okay. Man, I need a tier for fat people. I'm gonna make that right now. Actually, we're gonna add a row, and we're gonna make a tier just called obese, and we'll make it like that color. I don't really care. Obese. That's where Alexander Romanov is gonna go. And honestly, go ahead and bring Tai Tuivasa down there. I don't need to explain anymore. You know why he's in that tier. You know why Tai Tuivasa is in that tier. Let's move on to Manel Kape. Manel Kape is kind of overrated because he is a fan favorite, because fans love him. They kind of overhype him a little bit. I was saying this before the Mokaev fight that Manel Kape is good, but he is not as good as people make him out to be. He is just an average flyweight. So I'm going to throw him in overrated. People were calling him future champ. I don't think that's reasonable at all. So I'm going to put Manel Kape in the overrated tier. Moving on, we got this guy, Kevin Holland. Kevin Holland's tricky. He's going to go in the just average tier because Kevin Holland doesn't care about his career. He's another guy that just puts on entertaining fights. And he's constantly saying he doesn't care about the belt. He doesn't want to fight for the belt. It's like he's kind of scared to push himself, like he's scared to push himself and take a risky fight against top level competition. So because he refuses to push himself and fight, up the rankings, I know he was fighting like Marvin Vettori, Derek Brunson at one point, but he doesn't fight for the belt. He's not. He is decent. He is good, but it's like only when he wants to be, only when he's trying. And if he's facing someone that like, I don't even know how to describe Kevin Holland, but like, if he's facing someone that he knows can beat him and he knows is a risk to him, it's like he doesn't try and just lets himself lose. So he has an excuse like, oh, of course I'm going to lose. I'm standing and striking with Wonder Boy. Like he could have wrestled Wonder Boy, but he struck with him the entire fight. Just stuff like that. It makes no sense. So Kevin Holland's going to go in the average tier. Moving on, we got Dominic Cruz. It's over, bro. Get this guy out of the rankings. He's been sitting like number 13 in the rankings for like 2 years now with no fight. Where is Dominic Cruz? Who knows? But it's over for him. I don't know who he's going to fight. Why is he still in the rankings? Who knows? But it's over for Dominic Cruz. Moving up, Neil Magny. Dude, oh my God. Neil Magny. Where does Neil Magny even go? Does he just go in the average tier? Because he can fraud check prospects. Neil Magny is just the gatekeeper at welterweight. So I think just average perfectly describes Neil Magny. Neil Magny is just average, so I think that fits him perfectly. Moving on. Boom. This is Alexander Volkov. He is going to go... he's going to go... I would put him in underrated, but I think after the Pavlovich fight, people realize how good he really is, so I don't think I can put him in underrated. But I think I can put him in top 5 ceiling. I don't think he'll ever become champ with Tom Aspinall in the division. But I think Alexander Volkov is very good. I think he's definitely a top 5 heavyweight for sure. Moving on. Derek Lewis, he's obese. Moving on. Caio Baralho. That's hard to see. It's getting small. I had to zoom out really far to fit this entire thing on here. Caio Baralho, he's young with potential because I believe he is still in his 20s as well. And he's got like 1 loss on his record. He's got a lot of potential, a lot of time to improve in the sport. So he'll go there next to Mario Bautista. Moving on. Boom. Joaquin Buckley. Top 5 ceiling. I think top 5 is his ceiling. I don't think we'll ever see Buckley fight for a belt. I think he'll just be a guy who kind of floats in and out of the top 5 range. So I'm going to put him there next to Volkov. Moving on. Boom. Montel Jackson. Young with potential. He just killed Damon Blackshear. I love Damon Blackshear, so that was brutal to watch. But Montel Jackson is a very dangerous counter striker with power in his hands. Another fairly young guy as well. So I'm going to throw him in the young with potential tier. Moving on. Boom. Steve Erceg. He's not underrated anymore after the Pantoja fight. He's champ potential, though. He's champ potential. I just bumped my microphone. I'll edit that out. I won't do that. Yeah, I mean, he arguably beat Pantoja. Very close fight. So it's a no-brainer. He goes in the champ potential tier. If you have a close fight with a champ, then you're champ potential. So, boom. Makes sense to me. Moving on, Dustin Poirier. He's past his prime, but he can still win. I think that perfectly describes Poirier. He's getting up there. He is not the same as he used to be, although he is still very good. So he can still win if he's given the right matchups. But he's definitely past his prime at this point in his career. Moving on. Boom. Brandon Royval. Brandon Royval, huh? What do you do with Brandon Royval? Top 5 ceiling? Not champ? Yeah, I mean, he did get dominated by Pantoja. I mean, and by dominated, I mean wet blanketed. Yeah, I think top 5, but not champ, is good for Brandon Royval. Moving on. Boom. Corey Sandhagen. I did not mean to put you there. We're going to go champ potential. This is being recorded before he fights Umar. So based on that fight, we're going to learn a lot more. But right now, especially if he beats Umar, he's definitely champ potential. Moving on. I'm trying to go quick because we got a lot of people on here. This is Tim Elliott. And Tim Elliott is going to go past his prime, but he can still win. I think that makes sense for Tim Elliott. Move on. Boom. Jalen Turner. I love Jalen Turner. I love Jalen Turner. God. Oh, dude. I think Jalen Turner is so good, man. He should have beat Moicano. He had such a close fight with Gamrot. He should have beat Dan Hooker, but he gassed himself out. It's just like everything's going wrong for Jalen Turner. And it is partly his fault. Like, he should have finished Moicano. He should have jumped on him. He shouldn't have rushed for the finish against Dan Hooker. Man, I think Jalen Turner's got a lot of potential, man. He's not even 30 yet. He could go in the young with potential, but he's got a lot of time in the game. I think Jalen Turner, I would have put him in top 5 ceiling so bad because I do believe in Jalen Turner. I am delusional, but I'm going to put him there. I don't care. This is my video. Go fuck yourself. Moving on. Henry Cejudo. It's over, bro. Moving on. Mark Obese. Moving on. Anthony. It's over, bro. Moving on. Alex Perez. It might be over, but I'm going to... he's past his prime, but he can still win. I think that makes sense. I mean, he beat Mateus Nicolau, who's very chinny. But Alex Perez, he's getting older. But I think there are still matchups that he can win. So I think that makes sense. Moving on. Boom. Lerone Murphy. He's underrated, man. People don't talk about Lerone Murphy, but he is very good, undefeated. He's one of, like, the undefeated fighters that no one talks about. He just had a domination over Edson Barboza. I think Lerone Murphy is very, very underrated. Absolutely. So he goes in underrated. He'll be the first fighter we put there. Boom. Piotr Yan. Piotr Yan. What do you do with Piotr Yan? What do you do with Piotr Yan? Champ potential? Maybe. That might be what you do. Because he did have a very close fight with O'Malley. And he did have a very close loss to Aljamain Sterling. What do you do with him? I think he has champ potential. I think he can get back to a title shot, and I think he could win. I don't think he beats O'Malley, but if O'Malley loses to, I don't know, because if he loses to Merab, he got dominated by Merab. But I think any given day, Piotr Yan can beat every bantamweight in the UFC. I think Piotr Yan deserves to be in champ potential. I think he's got to go there. I don't want to say top 5 ceiling, but not champ, because he already was a champ. I think you got to put him in champ potential. Moving on. Oh, my God, bro. You're going there. I'm not even going to talk about you. Moving on. This is Josh Emmett. Josh Emmett. Dude, Josh Emmett is so strange, bro. He's just a guy that swings big overhands. He's just a big oaf that swings overhands with power. I mean, he's not top 5 ceiling. Oh, maybe he is. I think he's just average. I really do. If you can avoid the power shots of Josh Emmett, you should beat him. So I think he's just an average fighter with a lot of power. Moving on. Dan Ige. Dan Ige. He's kind of underrated. Dan Ige does not lose to people outside of the rankings. He is very good at holding his place in the rankings. Like, he flatlined Andre Fili. If you don't belong in the top 15, Dan Ige is going to beat you. So, I think Dan Ige's underrated. Moving on. Kyler Phillips. Young with potential. I'm really high on Kyler Phillips. I think he can be very good. I think he could be a champ in the future, maybe. I love watching Kyler Phillips. Super fun guy to watch. Moving on. Cyril Gane. I think he's got to be champ potential. With the heavyweights that we have on the roster, in reality, there's 5 good ones. Tom Aspinall, Cyril Gane, Alexander Volkov, John Jones, if you want to include him. He's going to retire, though, so, you might as well just leave him off. And then who do you Sergey Pavlovich, just a guy with power in his hands. He's not a technical guy. Like, who else at heavyweight is super good? Curtis Blades, I've been saying he's a little too slow on the feet. Aspinall dominated him in a minute. Jelton Almeida, yeah, I mean, I think Cyril Gane's a top 3 heavyweight in the world, and I think he has the potential to be a champion. So we'll throw him there. Moving on, boom, Bryce Mitchell. Bryce Mitchell. Bryce Mitchell used to be undefeated, man, and then Topuria beat him. Then he got sent to another dimension by Josh Emmett. Dude, I know that fight was on short notice. I think you have to put him in just average at this point, though. He does have potential, but his stand-up is just so not good. I think he's just an average wrestler. I mean, he's a great wrestler, but with his very poor stand-up, I think that makes him an average fighter. Moving on, Aljamain Sterling. I will stand by Aljamain Sterling until the day that I die. He is one of the most underrated fighters in the UFC. Everyone hates him because Petr Yan cheated, so apparently that makes Aljamain Sterling the bad guy. Never understood it, but even if you want to say, oh, he's an actor, whatever, Aljamain Sterling is a very dominant grappler. He beat Petr Yan fair and square in the second fight, and he's just one of the best grapplers in the sport, and if he gets your back, you don't get out of it. I think he's also being very overlooked at featherweight as well. I think he could be a potential title challenger at featherweight. So I think Aljamain Sterling is very underrated right now. Moving on, Jonathan Martinez. I think he's just average, man. If you take away Jonathan Martinez's low kicks, he does not have anything. Like, his boxing is not good. All he has is leg kicks. He doesn't wrestle. He is just a guy with super powerful kicks. And if you can check kicks or avoid leg kicks, then Jonathan Martinez becomes a very basic and easy guy to beat. So I think he's just average at this point. Moving on, Movsar Evloev. Man, I don't know. I don't think he'll be champ. I think he's top 5 ceiling. Like, the Arnold Allen fight was super close. Movsar Evloev, he's not a guy that has a lot of finishing potential. And I don't see him, like, out-wrestling and just laying on Ilia Topuria for 5 rounds. Or out-striking Topuria for 5 rounds. Or even beating a guy like Volkanovski. You know, like, I just don't know if he can be champ. With no finishing potential, he is a good wrestler, but Arnold Allen showed that he is very beatable. And I think next time I know he's booked against Sterling. I think Sterling's going to beat him. I really do believe that. So I think Evloev can be top 5. I don't think he'll ever be champ, though. But that's just my take. Moving on, let's grab this guy. This is Renato Moicano. I hate to do it, but he is overrated, man. He's the worst fighter in the top 15 at lightweight, in my opinion. I know he's a fan favorite. Everybody loves Renato Moicano. He's got funny post-fight speeches. He's funny on the mic. But he is not great, man. He's got no chin. His striking defense is awful. Even his takedowns aren't great. But once he gets you down, he is really good at holding you there. But again, his striking defense is just so bad. His chin is not there. I think Paddy Pimblett is smart for calling him out because I think that's a very winnable fight for him. But I think Renato Moicano is overrated at this point in his career. Charles Oliveira. Man, if Islam Makhachev didn't exist, he would be in champ potential. But I think at this point in his career, he is a top 5 ceiling. But I don't think he'll ever be champ again. Moving on. Let's go rapid fire. Dricus du Plessis, overrated. Ilia Topuria. I think he's one of the best in the world. Oh, God, now I can't see. Yair Rodriguez, top 5 ceiling. Edson Barboza, past their prime but can still win. Nikita Krylov, MIA. Mateus Nicolau. It's over, bro. Robert Whittaker, champ potential. Michael Venom Page. Top 5 ceiling, I guess. Tagir Ulanbekov. Young with potential. Okay, that's the end of rapid fire. This is Bogdan Guskov, the Anthony Smith clone. Dude, like, this is where it gets hard. Like, fighters like this, where do you even put Bogdan Guskov, bro? I'd love to know. Where do you even begin to, like, rank this guy? I think he's just average. I guess I'm going to just put him in average. You're fat. Max Holloway. He's one of the best in the world, man. He's one of the best in the world. He is. I might need to zoom out a little bit more. Oh, God, it's already getting so small. Okay, whatever. He's one of the best in the world. I've got to put him at champ potential. He's not even a champ, but he is champ potential. So, yeah, but I do think Max Holloway is one of the best in the world for sure. Oh, speaking of Max Holloway, here's Calvin Kattar. He's just an average boxer, so he's going to go in average. This is Bruno Silva, the flyweight, obviously, because the middleweight Bruno Silva is definitely not ranked. I think he's young with potential. Young with potential. This is Cody Durden, another flyweight. Dude, past. Is he just average? He's just average, bro. Tetsuro Taira, champ potential. I think he could definitely be a champ. He is such a good grappler. His striking is constantly improving. He's so young. He is definitely champ potential for sure. This is Jeff Neal. He's average. He's average. Marab. He's champ potential. Brandon Moreno, past their prime, but can still win, I guess. I hate to say he's past his prime, but he's looked so bad in his last fight. I guess I gotta put him in past their prime, but he can definitely still win. Kaikar France, whatever. I don't fucking care. He's a midget. He's gonna go in top 5 ceiling. I don't think he'll ever be champ though. Matt Schnell, dude, it's over, bro. You're getting chinned at flyweight. Please just retire. Brian Ortega. I don't think he'll be champ, but I think he is top 5. Song Yadong, young with potential. Gilbert Burns. He's past his prime, but he can still win. He had a very close fight with JDM that he was going to win if that fight went to the scorecards. Obviously, it did not. But Gilbert Burns, I think there's definitely some fights at welterweight he can still win. Pantoja he's overrated. I've been saying this. I say this any chance I get to talk about Pantoja on any video. I say how much I think he sucks. I think he's an overrated champ. People talk about how he's cleared out the division, this and that. But all of his title performances other than Brandon Royval have been close. Like, he won a close fight against Brandon Moreno. He won a very close fight with Steve Versek that he arguably could have lost. Like, and the fight with Royval, he just wet blanketed, did nothing with the grappling. He's very overrated champion. Arnold Allen, he's... Oh, man. His losses are to Max Holloway and Mavzar Evloev. I think he's definitely top 5. Top 5, but I don't think he'll be champ. I'd love to see it, but I don't think he'll be champ. Roman Dolidze, oh my God, bro. Roman Dolidze is so bad, but he beat Anthony Smith. Like, I mean, Anthony Smith isn't good. Like, I'm not surprised, but, like, Roman Dolidze is so garbage, bro. I can't even put him in overrated because no one rates him. He's not even average. I think he's bad. I don't even have a tier for bad. I'm just going to put him in the it's over because I don't think he's good. This is Jailton Almeida. Jailton Almeida, he's kind of underrated, man. People are calling him, like, boring. Jailton Almeida's boring. Nobody wants to watch Jailton Almeida. Dude, he had one boring fight against Derek Lewis. That was it. Like, he's got, like, a 95% finish rate or something like that. And people keep calling him boring and that he's got a fraud checked against Curtis Blades. First of all, I might need to make a video about the most overused terms in the MMA fan base, because fraud check is quickly becoming one of them. Like, no one knows what that term means anymore, apparently. Losing to a top 5 heavyweight in the world is not getting fraud checked, dude. He lost to an elite level heavyweight. That's not a fraud check. Anyway, that's another video for another day. I think he's underrated. This is Nasruddin Imavov. Young with potential. Benil Dariush, it's over. Stipe Miocic, it's over. Tom Aspinall, best in the world. Amir Albazi, dude. I guess he's top 5 ceiling. I don't even want to put him there, but I guess I'll put him there. I don't think he'll ever be champ, but I didn't think Bilal Muhammad would be champ, and here we are. So, whatever. Steven Wonderboy Thompson, past their prime but can still win. RDA, past their prime but can still win. Curtis Blades. I love Curtis Blades. He's such a genuine, like, nice guy, dude. I don't even want to say anything bad about Curtis Blades. He's top 5 ceiling. No, not champ, though. Chris Curtis. Dude, Chris Curtis. He's so old, man. Like, I always forget how old Chris Curtis is, dude. He's like 38 or something. He is so old. He doesn't look that old, but he's old. It might be over for him, but I don't know. He's just average. John Jones. I don't even want to rank this guy, bro. Like, I can't even put him in champ potential because he's already champ. Fake interim belt. He's not the best in the world, bro. I'll put him, whatever, man. I don't have another place for him. He's going to retire anyway, so it's irrelevant. Sean O'Malley, best in the world. I mean, this is where most of the champs are going to go, because they can't go in champ potential because they're already champ. Unless you're overrated like Dricus or Pantoja, you're probably going to go up here. Makes sense. Who is this? This is Rodrigo Nascimento, I believe. It's getting so blurry, I can't even tell. This guy is obese. That was easy. Asu Almabayev, young with potential. Davison Figueiredo, top 5 ceiling, but I don't think he'll be champ. Shavkat Rakhmonov, champ potential. Max Holloway again, because it's a long story. Whatever. We're not gonna rank Max Holloway twice. Kamaru Usman. Kamaru Usman is past his prime, but he can still win. He had a very close fight with Khamzat Chimaev that arguably he could have won, or it could have been a draw. I think there's definitely matchups for Usman. People keep saying he's washed. He hasn't looked washed in any of his fights. So I think there's definitely still matchups that Usman can win, but he is definitely past his prime. Sergey Pavlovich, overrated. Very powerful, but not. I mean, Volkov just out-techniqued him for 15 minutes. He's just a heavyweight with power in his hands. He's not very technical. He's got no wrestling. Very basic guy to figure out and beat. So I think he's overrated. This is, oh my God, I can't see. This is Jamal Hill. I can tell by his shitty tattoos. You know, I think he can be champ. Once Pereira leaves the division or retires or whatever, I think Jamal Hill can definitely be champ at light heavyweight. He's a very good boxer. A lot of power in his hands. So I think he's definitely champ potential. I mean, he was already champ at one point. Magomed Ankalaev. I guess you put him in champ potential. I mean, his best win is Johnny Walker. Is this guy going to be champ? I don't think so. I'm putting him in top 5 ceiling, but not champ. I don't think he'll be champ. I really don't believe it. This is Rob Font. Nothing special. He's just average. Very average boxer. Simple guy to figure out. Speaking of average, there's Alonzo Menifield. You can go right next to him. Michel Pereira. He's a fun guy to watch, and he's tearing through middleweight. Like, he is making these middleweights look awful. I think he could be top 5. I don't think he can be a champ, though. Marvin Vettori, bro. He's just average. Colby Covington, it's over. Can he win? It depends who they give him. I think he can still win. I think he's past his prime, but he can still win. I don't think it's completely over for him. Yuri Prohaska, dude, champ potential. Again, if Pereira leaves the division, it's champ potential. Anthony Hernandez, young with potential. Very excited to watch him at middleweight. Very fun grappler. Dominic Reyes, if he didn't beat Dustin Jacoby, he'd be in the it's over tier. By the way, I predicted him to beat Jacoby, so just saying. But he's past his prime, but he can still win. I mean, he just won, so duh. This is Khalil Roundtree. Top 5 ceiling, but I don't think he'll be champ. A lot of people are high on Khalil Roundtree. I don't think he'll ever be champ, but I do think he has a top 5 ceiling, so I'll throw him there. Jan Blachowicz. Past his prime, but he can still win. He's 40 years old, coming off like double shoulder surgery or something. So I can't put him in average or top 5 ceiling or whatever. I think he's definitely past his prime, but there are definitely some fights he can still win. So this is Mateusz Gamrot. Mateusz Gamrot. What do you do with Gamrot? Top 5 ceiling? Champ potential? I don't think he'll be champ. I think top 5 is his ceiling. This is... Who is this, bro? Oh, this is Alexander Rakic. He's going to go in top 5 ceiling. I'm going to have to zoom out again. Oh, my God. Okay. Let's see. Who's next? Carlos Ulberg. He's... I think he could be champ. I think he could. Again, if Pereira leaves the division or retires. Diego Lopez, young with potential. That one makes sense. Ian Gary. People hate him, but he's young with a lot of potential. Very high fight IQ. People hate him, but I think he's pretty good. And just also young. So, makes sense. Johnny Walker, dude. It's over. At light heavyweight, it's over, bro. You're not beating anyone in like the top 5, maybe top 10. It's over for him, bro. Alex Pereira, best in the world. Azamet Murzakanov. Overrated. Hamzat Chimaev. Overrated. Jose Aldo. Past his prime, but can still win. Volkanovski. Past his prime, but can still win. Umar Nurmagomedov. Young with potential. Paddy Pimblett. Underrated. Brendan Allen. Average. Giga Chikadze. Average. Rafael Fiziev. Top 5 ceiling. Alright, we're down to the last few. There's no more rapid fire. Islam Makhachev is the best in the world. He is the best in the world. Paulo Costa. Dude. The thing is, man, Paulo Costa doesn't have a single good win on his resume. His last win is over Luke Rockhold. Like, he loses to everyone that's in the top 5. Like, he lost to Whitaker. He lost to Strickland. He lost to Adesanya. He lost to Vettori. I think he's just average, man. Like, I don't think Paulo Costa is that good. Justin Gaethje. Man, we got to see him after that Holloway fight. Like, we got to see how he bounces back after a KO like that. But, dude, it all depends on how he looks in his next fight. I'm going to say he's past his prime, but he can still win. Benoit Saint-Denis. Overrated. One of the most overrated fighters in the UFC. Got a fight with Poirier for no reason. And then people are, like, trying to book him with, like, Fiziev and Hooker. Why is he... And, like, Oliveira... Why is he getting fights up the rankings? He has no ranked wins. If he was Dagestani, then people would be complaining about Dagestani privilege. But since he's Benoit Saint-Denis, he'd like, oh, give him Oliveira. Give him Rafael Fiziev. He has no ranked wins. And he also his striking defense sucks. So he's overrated. One of the most overrated fighters I've ever seen. Dan Hooker, he's just average. Dan Hooker's just average. Sean Strickland, I guess he's champ potential. It's so weird to say that, but I guess he's champ potential. This is Jack Hermanson. Jack Hermanson is just average. This is Volkan Oezdemir. I think he could be in the top 5. I don't think he'll be champ, but I think he could be top 5 for sure. Next up, this is Israel Adesanya. I think he beats Dricus, so I think that automatically makes him champ potential. This is Jairzinho Rosenstrike. He's going right next to his buddy Derek Lewis in the obese tier. This is Bilal Muhammad, now champion, so he can't go in champ potential. He's not even best in the world. I do think he's underrated, though. And I think the fight against Leon after that, maybe he's not underrated anymore, but I'm going to throw him in underrated because he's not best in the world and doesn't fit anywhere else. Vicente Luque, it's over, bruh. It's over. I don't know. He has, ever since that Jeff Neal fight, just does not have a will to win. Like, he just doesn't really care. He kind of gave up against Buckley. So I think it's over. I mean, he's fighting Nick Diaz, so he should get a win there, but I don't know how much more Vicente Luque has in him at this point. Sean Brady, he's young with potential, I guess, because he's like in his early 30s, I believe. He's only lost to Bilal Muhammad, which is a loss that is aging quite well. So, and he dismantled Kevin Gastelum, or Kelvin Gastelum. I don't know why I just called him Kevin. Whatever, Kelvin Gastelum, he submitted him with ease. So I think he's got a lot of potential. Jack Della Maddalena, I think he's champ potential. Absolutely. Michael Chandler, it's over, bruh. Conor is not fighting you. And if he does, I think he's going to KO you. That's all I'm going to say. Michael Chandler, he's a little slow in the head. Not the best fight IQ. You know, he can wrestle. He just refuses to because he's a retard. Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with Michael Chandler, but it's over, bruh. Sergey Spivak, he's fat. And last fighter is Jared Cannonier, the man that got prematurely stopped by Nasruddin Imavov. What do you do with Cannonier? Top 5 ceiling? I don't think he'll be champ, but I think he's top 5. But he is 40. But he hasn't looked washed. He's never looked washed in any of his fights, so I can't say he's past his prime, because he's looking as good as he was years ago. So I guess I'm gonna put him in top 5 ceiling, but not champ. And that's every single ranked fighter in the UFC, in every single men's weight class, all 8 weight classes. Every top 15 fighter is on the tier list. That was interesting. I tried to go quick. I mean, this video is about 40 minutes long at this point, so I had to rapid fire a few of them, but that's all of them. Let me know what you agree with, what you disagree with. What would you change about the list? Who would you put where and why? And I will see you next time.